நீராறும் கடலுடுத்த நிலமடந்தை கெழிலொழுகும் சீராறும் மதனமென திகழ்வரத கண்டமிதில் எக்கணமும் அதில் சிறந்த திராவிடனல் திருநாடும் தக்க சிறு திரை முதலும் தரித்தனரும் திலகமுமே அத்திலக வாசனை போல் அனைத்துலகும் இன்பமுற எத்திசையும் புகழ் மணக்க இருந்த பெரும் தமிழனங்கே தமிழனங்கே உன் சீரிழமை திறம்பியந்து செயல் மறந்து வாழ்த்துதுமே வாழ்த்துதுமே வாழ்த்துதுமே.
असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मामृतं गमय मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मामृतं गमय असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मामृतं गमय. ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति.
Good afternoon. Welcome to our seminar on digital transformation in the business world. Today's rapidly evolving technological landscape, embracing digital transformation has become imperative for businesses to stay competitive and relevant. Both the seminar will explore the key aspects, challenges, and opportunities of digital transformation, shedding light on how businesses can successfully navigate this digital paradigm shift. First and foremost, I invite Dr. Malati Selvakumar, Madam Principal of SA College of Arts and Science, to deliver the welcome address.
A very happy afternoon to everyone present here. On behalf of our management, our staff, and our students, I welcome each and every one of you on board for this program. At the onset, I would like to thank Mr. Rakesh Ravi Shankar, CMA, for having given us this opportunity immediately as soon as we approached him. And the CMA Institute, our college, is highly indebted to you because you have given us the position as a support center, and we are also the exam centers for your institute. So we are so happy that you are guiding us and taking us along in the path of growth along with you. The 2 certificate programs offered by CMA for our students is also of great help, and we have been getting raving interviews from the students. So thank you, Institute and the President, for his support. I also take this opportunity to welcome each and every one of the CMAs. You're all highly qualified and practical people, and I'm sure that all the information which you are going to share on this August platform is going to be of great use to all the participants, especially our students. Thank you very much for partnering with us, and I also take this opportunity to welcome all the participants, student and staff otherwise, and all the other CMAs who are also on this platform. Thank you so much and welcome once again. And I'm looking forward to this enriching sessions where we learn, diverse aspects of digital transformation. Thank you so much.
Srinivasa Prasad, council member of the Institute of Cost Accountant of India and chairman of Information Technology Committee and members in Industry Committee. He is a highly experienced managerial person with varied experience, including cost and management, software development, ERP, IED, O&M, IT. He has served as GM in Steel Authority of India, then elevated to the position of executive director, and also served as advisor to NMDC Limited in the domain of ERP and IT. He has a professional website whereby he updates relevant information for the professionals, students in an hardly update basis. He had served the Council of the Institute of Cost Accountant of India, contributed to member services and facilitation committee and other portfolios. His areas of interest are cost and management, enterprise resource planning, internal audit and internal control, MIS and system leadership, and also team building and contract management. I welcome him to share his thoughts on the program's theme.
Good afternoon. Thank you. Vanakkam. So it is a wonderful opportunity to interact with the members and dear students and the faculty. First of all, I would like to thank our institute and our president, vice president, and council members for this wonderful opportunity as chairman IT committee. This is our second program, combined program with colleges, and then the whole thing has been rooted and then worked by Ms. CMA Rakesh Ravishankar. So thanks to him. And then this 5-day program, we have got very excellent speakers, people who are having expertise on the subjects, who will be able to take us through on the subjects. And later on, based on the feedback, our institute will be conducting joint programs on each of the subjects in a more elaborate way. In a sense, this whole 5-day program will be a curtain riser program on various subjects, and we request you to give your input at the end of the program. And I would like to really acknowledge the presence and gratitude to the institute management, starting from your correspondent and the head of the departments and all the faculty, and my president, vice president, and council members. There are people who will be really taking us on the knowledge path. In fact, if you really look at it, this program is based on a digital transformation in business world. We are going to talk how the digital transformation is happening in the digital world, business world, and a well-worn path for driving and scaling digital initiatives. We have got various subjects, including blockchain technology, fintech technology, and how technology is used in taxation, and a lot of subjects are there. So we will be very happy to interact with all of you, and then please make use of each and every resource person's time available, and then we will be sharing our contact details, and then we look for more and more programs like this, so that the input where we are able to learn more than giving, we want to learn, all of us, so that a complete synergy is available with hundreds of participants who are taking part in this program. With this, I would like to give back this one to the organizers, and with a request that our president is there today. So after everybody has finished, president will be able to definitely address. He is with me, so he's on a different job. So others are finished. At the end of the inaugural session, president will be talking before the speaker comes on stage. Okay. And thank you very much for all these things. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, sir. May now request Ms. Malati from SA College to introduce our keynote speaker, CMA KC Heavy SN Murthy, our council member. and Chairman, Journal Publications Committee. Aarti ma'am, please.
I now introduce CMAKCHAVSN Murthy, a council member of the Institute of Cost Accountant of India. He's a chairman for Journal and Publication Committee and occupies membership in other committees and boards. He has been serving the council and the institute through various portfolios. Mr. KCHAVSN Murthy has served as chairman of Hyderabad chapter of Cost Accountants and chairman of Southern Indian Regional Council of ICAI, and he is a regular faculty at the chapters of ICAI. And Mr. Murthy is guest faculty for many training programs of different institutions and organizations. Mr. Murthy is a columnist in Varda daily newspaper on taxation matters. He has wide experience in conducting various audits, is also a qualified cost accountant and has knowledge in the costing to monitor the preparation of cost sheets, expenditure budgets, contributions, profit statement, and other MIS reports. He has about 30 years of experience in the practice and has experience in handling any work audit. I hereby invite CMAKCHAVSN Murthy to deliver the address.
Very, very good afternoon to all of you. Let me thank sincerely my institute, Mr. in particular TCS Prasad Garu and SA College for giving me a chance to be with you today to address little known to me. Friends, with one disclaimer I start. Whatever I say today, they do not represent the views of the institute. They are purely my personal view about this particular digital transformation. A very contemporary subject, useful for entire world is the subject chosen by Mr. Prasad Garu. Thank you very much. Friends, in business, they say everything is fair, but we don't do so. We professionals in business, we do everything legally, ethically, well within the clutches of law. We are meant for it actually. The business of the business, dear friends, the business of the business is to do business for the business, of the business, by the business, according to me. The heart of business making, whether it is process or model, dear friends, the heart of business making, the art of business making, the part, the start, the smart, the chart, the cart, the dart, the mart, the impart, the jump start, the multi-part, outstart, support, upstart, wall chart, by heart. Everything is a strategy. Everything is order of the day. According to me, WTO means not World Trade Organization. To me, it is world of threat and opportunity. Encash every opportunity, encounter every threat. You are there in the business. Satya Nadella, in his book Hit Refresh, tells that know it well. This is the last option or one world option. Not now, not know it well. Learn it well. Do it well. Implement it well. This is the order of the day. Friends, if you talk about models in the country, we talk, the principles are we should have value, revenue should be more, market share should be there, we should withstand in the competition, and we should have stability. Live examples are Apple. Apple has come from computers to iPads. Uber changed its philosophy.
Yes, sir.
Walmart, Swiggy, Zomato, State Bank of India. Once upon we were standing before the indie banks to get loans. Now they are coming to you. State Bank of India, SBI, Reliance, and Tata. These are the best examples. They have what they have done. Model change the models to suit the requirement of the ultimate customer. If you go to process, they talk about consistency, repetition, innovation, improvement, efficiency, time management. There are 5 principles in process. It should first of all sort out the problem, set it in order, shine or streamline, standardize, and the last one, the most important is sustain. Bank of India, the country's leading banker, it says that relationship is beyond banking. Mahindra, ICICI, British Airways, Netflix, Pizza had a bad story, now good story. Nokia, we thought Nokia would vanish, but Nokia again is due into back into action. Similarly, Coca-Cola. These are good examples for business process. Friends, Bill Gates, in his book Business at Speed of Thought, or Thought of Speed or Speed of Thought, whatever you can call in my language, he compares the digital nervous system with human nervous system. We do many things involuntarily. Best example is car drive. In good old days, we are having A for accelerator, B for brake, C for clutch, ABC. But all these things we do within fraction of seconds involuntarily, but correctly, not to attracting any, violating any traffic rules. That is human body. Similarly, the best way is to predict the future, to make it future as your part of the ambition. That's what Abraham Lincoln told. Bill Gates says that most happy, unhappy customers are greatest learning sources. So learn, earn, and that is the order of the day. Thomas Edison says that I have not failed 10,000 times. I have found that how it cannot work 10,000 times. A very good quotation. Ideas are no one's monopoly. That's what Dhirendra Ambani says, that think big, think fast, think ahead. That is the order of the day. Lastly, our own hero, Sundar Pichai says that a person who is happy is not because everything he has done is right, because everything is right, because the attitude is everything is right. I wish you good luck to all these participants. The heart of business making lies only in you, in you, in you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Murthy sir. We greatly appreciate your vision and wisdom, which have enriched our understanding of the topic. As we continue this engaging event, I introduce CMA Ashwin Kumar Ji Dalwadi, President of the Institute of Cost Accountant of India, a leading practicing cost accountant since 1989, and has a brilliant academic background and rich experience in the field of cost accountancy and general management. Presently, he is a senior partner of Dalwadi and Associates, Cost Accountants, Ahmedabad. He is associated with the CMA profession since 1977. He is actively associated with Ahmedabad chapters since 1990 onwards. He was elected as a regional council member of Western India Regional Council of ICMAI for 2 consecutive terms, and also as a chairman of Western India Regional Council of ICMAI for the year 2003 to 2004. Now, I invite CMA Ashwin Kumar Ji Dalwadi sir for the inaugural address.
Thank you, madam. Good afternoon to all. Thirubi Venkatesh Rajaji, CMA TCS Prasad sir, Malti madam, Dr. Murthy sir, A to Z Murthy for all of us, Rakesh Shankar, Ravi Shankar, Dr. P. Suresh, and CMA Chandrasekhar Kupperi. A very good afternoon to you, everyone. It is my proud privilege to address you on the first day of this 5-day strategic development program on digital transformation in business world, a well worn path for driving and scaling the digital initiatives jointly organized by SA College of Arts and Science in association with our institute ICMAI for academicians, educational administrators, industry representatives, and professionals and students. As a, as the president of ICMAI, I proudly cherish our association with as a college of arts and science to jointly organize the workshop, seminars, academic programs for professionals for the benefit of the academic fraternity and professional members and students. Digital transformation in the business world is not new to India because we all know the even a shopkeeper, small roadside shopkeeper is aware about and is using the digital technology. And this refers to digital transformation in the business world is refers to the process of integrating digital technology to all aspects of business, fundamentally changing how it operates and delivers value to the customers. The transformation goes beyond the adopting of new digital tools. It encompasses a shift in the organization's culture, processes, strategies to leverage the technology very effectively. Adopting the digital tools and technology such as cloud computing, big data analytics, artificial intelligence, the Internet of Things, IoT, and blockchain to improve the operations, decision making, and customer experiences. I would like to share with you all this digital transformation are meant for making ease of doing it. I am not using the government of India's slogan, ease of doing business. But in fact, the IT industry is doing this. Take, for example, our cell phone. We are not only using the cell phone for calling people or calling video calls, we are using it for many, many things. And it has eased our, what I would say, it has eased our business because, say, for example, today also somebody may have joined this program with help of his or her mobile. Actually, take anything. The whenever the technology comes into play, it is reducing the repetitive work which is being carried out. Because I remember my old days when we started with the computer uses through key punch cards we were calling. So it was at that time very boring and time consuming. But we were able to take so many decisions, so many activities. For example, I mean, which where the repetitive work was going on, we were able to carry out within few hours, which was taking earlier a lot of time. Number of days were there or things. For example, uh, payroll, where this was being first everywhere, it was started with that. Similarly, look at the cloud technology. See, all this has reduced IT infrastructure cost. It has enhanced the scalability and improved the accessibility. We have already witnessed this technology in form of vaccination, in form of digital payments, and in form of Aadhaar card. Even now, we are passing through the Digi Yatra also. These all are embracing, and this is being used in business in a very big way. Take for example Digi Yatra, how it has helped the businesses. Now we do not have to have many more gates because you can automatically enter the airports. This will be at a later date will be applied at other places also. And for the airport authorities also, they are not required to man with all number of persons with many security guards. So we need to recognize the digital transformation in ongoing journey rather than one-time project. Businesses must continuously adapt the evolving technologies and marketing dynamics. Digital transformation is not one size fits all process. It varies by industry, organization, size, and specific goals. Successfully Successful digital transformation requires a clear vision, strong leadership, and a commitment to embracing the digital technologies as a catalyst for the growth and innovation in the modern business. I firmly believe that organizing strategic development program like this will provide an opportunity to participants to enlighten themselves with the emerging issues and trends. I am sure that the participants will be immensely benefited from the detailed deliberations by esteemed and learned speakers during this 5 days strategic development program, which is going to encompass lot many areas like business process transformation versus business model transformation, technology in business compliances. These we have seen in even case of GST also. Digital initiatives in indirect taxation, that is GST, Chat GPT for business. It is of course new, but we shall be ready. I look forward to further fruitful engagements with SA College of Arts and Science and wish our academic collaboration to expand further in times to come. On behalf of ICMAI, I convey my best wishes and assure you of our best cooperation and support. With these few words, I once again thank you all and wish esteemed guests and speakers and other dignitaries for their kind. I extend my thanks to them also. I wish that this program will be a great success. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, President. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for your vision and objectives. For our India, we have the Prime Minister from Gujarat who is driving the digital India. So for our institute, you're also from Gujarat. So you are driving the digital initiatives. Thank you so much for being with us, President. So on behalf of the organizing team and others, we thank you wholeheartedly. Over to Aarti, ma'am.
And from my side, I would like to thank Mr. Chandrasekhar Kuperi because it is a great opportunity to listen to him.
Thank you, sir. I now introduce CMA Chandrasekhar Kuperi, founder of Anova Corporate Services. Shekhar sir has almost 2 decades of experience in various multinationals with diversified sector experience such as FMCG, life insurance, audit
He's
and
a cost
assurance,
accountant.
and
Good man.
oil and gas sectors. His last stint was an group finance director with Lorna Maid Group, a UK-based multinational in the FMCG space, which owns well-known personal care brands such as Yardley of London, Finessi, etc. Shaker Sir has rich experience in the FMCG, such as M&A space, having led or been part of over 11 acquisitions and 4 disinvestments, besides restructuring and refinancing transactions in North America, Europe, and India. Shaker Sir is a chartered accountant, cost accountant, and a company secretary by qualification and a rank holder and medalist in both ICAI and ICWAI. He is also a member of Institute of Management Accountants US, Institute of Public Accountants Australia, and Chartered Accountant for Securities and Investment UK. He holds an MBA and has completed a senior management certification program from IIM Calcutta. Now, I request him to take over the technical session.
Thank you so much to the organizers and members of the esteemed SA College of Arts and Science, the organizers and members of the prestigious, it is my alma mater, the ICMAI, and of course, the Information Technology Committee, for the kind invite. I think I must definitely thank our president, for setting the context. So CMA Ashwinji, whatever we have told, in terms of how this country should look at digital evolution is absolutely fascinating. I've just noted down, your specific, words to say that it starts even at a shopkeeper level. And then you said this very, very pertinently, successful digital transformation requires clear vision and strong leadership. So thank you so much. I definitely thank TCA Srinivas Prasadji, for having invited me. Also, Rakesh ji for having invited me, and to Dr. Malati for setting the whole context. But I think I should definitely be grateful to CMA Murthy sir for sharing a wisdom in such a magnificent way. One of the things Murthy sir that I picked up is when you said, think big, think fast, think ahead. I believe this aptly summarizes what is required in today's technology world. And let me also thank Aarti for the kind and generous introduction. So let me wish you all a very happy afternoon, a very good afternoon, and let's dwell into this fantastic topic. Why I say it is fantastic? Simple reason, it's very, very relevant. It's relevant for today's world, for today's era, because it is said that we all live in a world which is called VUCA. So what does VUCA stand for? It stands for volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous. That's what they say the world is today. In fact, 2 more letters were added, R and D, risky and disruptive. That's how they call it. Some thinkers also said it's no more VUCA, it's Barney. So what is this Barney? They said Barney is brittle, anxious, non-linear, incomprehensible. Unume purila. So that's the sort of world that they say. To me, what this means is that it's a very dynamic world, which means it's the change, which is what is the name of the order. That's the name of the game. And if you don't embrace change, we'll be left behind. And therefore, I always believe in this word called agility. I love this word because whenever someone tells me be agile, be nimble, it's basically saying, can you move quickly? Can you move easily? Can you seize the opportunity that is in front of you? So I love this term. And look at some of the other, related terms that is there with this agility. Alert, responsive, thriving, courageous, pivoting, adaptive, engaged, outcome focused. Wow. It is so inspiring even to, hear and tell these words aloud because this is the name of the game in today's dynamic world. Why do I say this? This is an amazing but a brutal truth. What got us here won't get us there. What do I mean? Whatever efforts we did in the past does not mean that that's going to help us also to propel to the future. That's the world that we live in. Why am I saying this? Well, this is the blatant truth. The world that you and I live in is changing faster than ever before. If I have to use this with audacity, the truth is, in today's dynamic world landscape, which is all digital, the past success is not a successful predictor of our future results. So, what we did in the past is not equal to our ability to grow in the future. We have to be agile, we have to be nimble. In fact, the technology that I come from, okay, and the later years, that technology got introduced to me, it was all about automation in factories, probably big data, robotics, 3D printing. This is what we hear about, 3D printing and all that. But today's young kids, today's millennials, they speak about something called generative AI, conversational AI, chat GPT, which was, used, in this forum. And of course, metaverse. What I'm saying is that the technology progress is exponential, and therefore I'm so grateful, that CMA Institute and SA College of Arts and Science have this amazing seminar on this digital transformation. Look at this: consumers can come from anywhere. Earlier, we used to target a set of customers and go after that, but today, digital medium has enabled customers to come from all across. Competition lurking very much around us. It's not like you believe that you are cut out to be the best. Someone or somebody is always lurking around and creating something that we are already doing. Disruption, that's again a word that is being used so frequently, because that's the world that we live in. Everything is disruptive, everything is changing. That's why I'm saying change is the only constant that we are seeing in this world. Similarly, look at the customers, sort of psyche and attitude. They are more experiential of the products or services. What experience am I getting? That's the sort of focus, and therefore businesses have to also fine-tune themselves towards giving the experience to the customers. I love this. Earlier in my days, if you had a product and you believe that you have the market power, the scale, the legacy, you thought you are the best. Today it is no more. All this product, market power, scale, legacy are no longer, they can secure the guarantees of future success. That's the world we live in. And therefore, this last line is very, very important. The creative capability is such a critical resource. In fact, I keep saying that creativity is more important than knowledge. Of course, we all should gain knowledge. There's no doubt in that. But this creative power, the creative juice that you and I have is what we see in today's world. Everything is like a magic, when you say things happening. And that's why, I love this, the statement, the new rules of competition, which you see on the Harvard Business Review title. It just tells you that if you're not paranoid or obsessed with what we are doing, if you're not disrupting our own self, if you're not going to war for talent, talent is in great demand today. It is very, very difficult to find the right talent. And therefore, that is a sort of war that is happening in today's world in terms of even talent. If you are not ready to embrace all this, which actually comes under the bigger word digitization, trust me, we will be behind. The adaptability, the ability to change is what is going to define us big time. That's why, today we have this topic. What is business process transformation? What is business model transformation? How do we compare them? Because what got us here won't get us there. So on that note, let's first understand what is business process or what is business transformation itself is. So what is business transformation? In fact, if you ask me, because of the so many words that I've also shown you there, it is nothing but a multitude of qualities and traits that a business needs to develop for what? To survive and thrive and scale. Because today, the way we are, running businesses, first of all, survival itself has become a big issue. COVID came, so many businesses, lost out. And of course, some of them are still, struggling to even, break even and, get to the profitability. So it's survival, and then you thrive, and then you scale. Without this business transformation as core, nothing, works in your favor. What do I mean by business transformation? Look at those amazing terms. It's use of technology, having a dynamic vision, having a dynamic strategy, collaboration, a very important word, roadmap. What is my future? What is the future towards growth? Governance. We all have to embrace this word big time, because governance is what will give us the lasting growth, or what I call as a sustainable growth. Operational excellence, again, a beautiful word. Change management, and many more that we see there. Trust me, this is what transforms a business. And therefore, the business transformation in terms of a process, the business transformation in terms of a model, we have to understand deeper. Strangely, they appear to be similar because it's written, in such a way that it looks like, the meaning should be same. Oh, but trust me, they're absolutely distinct concepts, very, very different. Two critical concepts that we need to know, BPT and BMT, because they create changes to a company's operations big time. So critical to any business, so critical to any company. And the third line is so beautiful. They have their own distinct objectives and the areas of focus. This is what I like about these two phenomenons. One is called the business process transformation. The second is called the business model transformation. What I love is they have distinct objectives and areas of focus. So let's get to the first one. What is business process transformation? What is this BPT all about? It's so beautiful. It's an organizational discipline which employs various methods. Let's just halt for a moment, even to understand this. It's an organizational discipline, which means it's not restricted to one or two departments. It's all people involved, all departments involved. So why are we using this organization discipline? Why are we employing the methods? To identify, streamline, automate, measure, and eliminate. Amazing terms. Identify, streamline, digitize, which is what you're talking about today, automation, measure, and eliminate the bloated business processes. What is the reason that somebody carries out even a business process transformation? What is out of form? What is out of control? What is out of shape? That is what the entire departments, they look into. They identify, they streamline, they digitize, they measure, because they want to eliminate the ones that is out of form, out of control, because that creates the organizational growth. So this is business process transformation. In simple terms, it's about improving and optimizing the internal operations of a business, the processes of a business, so that efficiency can be enhanced within the existing business model. So we are still restricting ourselves within the existing business model when we speak about business process transformation. Now let's try and understand what is this business model transformation then, BMT. Very different. The very first line says process of altering the fundamental way. You're touching the core. The core itself is changed. Process of altering the fundamental way a company operates and delivers value to customers. My goodness. Look at this. You are touching the core of the business in terms of how it operates and how it delivers value to the customers to improve the performance of the business, the competitiveness of the business, and the last line is so important, adapting to the changing market conditions. As I began, I said I love this word, business agility, being agile, being nimble. Business model transformation uses this in a much more stronger way. It says one has to adapt to the changing market conditions, one has to be agile, one has to be nimble. And therefore, business model transformation, it involves reimagining. I use the word creativity, imagination. So you're reimagining the core aspects of a business model to adapt to external forces so that the long-term viability and sustainability and innovation can be emphasized. It's all about the long-term viability and therefore growth and innovation. So if I have to simply put, business process transformation is all about digitizing, digital, that's it. That's the core focus. But what about business model transformation? Oh, this is very different. You innovate, because if you innovate, probably you will not even exist. The business may not even exist, the business may die. So one of the bigger takeaways in the difference between business process transformation and business model transformation is BPT is digitizing. That's the core. That's the fulcrum. For BMT, it is all about innovation. Let's get a little more deeper into this. Let's understand what is the focus of business process transformation. As I said, as I was explaining all this, it's more internal. It's within, the business model of, which a business is operating. It's very, very internal. What I mean by that, how to improve, how to optimize the current operations, how to ensure that you're able to enhance the efficiency, you're able to reduce the cost, you're able to streamline the workforce. That's the greater focus of business process transformation. What about business model transformation? Look at the word, adapting to the evolving market dynamics, which means you're reimagining the core aspect. You're looking at what is this technological disruptions that is happening, what is the shift in the customer preferences, what is the evolving competitive landscape, so that I'm able to adapt. What a huge difference. Let's look at the goals. The goals of business process transformation is boosting the productivity and effectiveness. What does it mean? Which means you have to refine, you have to fine-tune the existing operations, the operational framework, you have to adopt the new technologies, you have to digitize, you have to implement the best practices so that the productivity and effectiveness is on the high. What about business model transformation? Wow, it's all about the long-term viability and growth. The business needs to survive. So the goal here is exploring new revenue streams, entering new markets, creating innovative products or services, reimagining the customer interactions. It's all about viability. Do I have the staying power? Do I have the growing power? That's the goal. Examples, it's the usual suspects. We hear about ERP, we hear about business process reengineering, we hear about Six Sigma, we hear about lean, we hear about digitization. All are examples of business process transformation. What about business model transformation? Look at this. It's very different. It's transitioning from a traditional brick and mortar model that we all understand. I come from that background. Brick and mortar is what I understand, the offline. It is transitioning from the traditional brick and mortar to an e-commerce omni-channel model, pivoting from a product sale to a subscription-based sales. For example, today, many of it is subscription-based, either quarterly or annual. Adopting even a platform-based business model to connecting buyers and sellers in a marketplace. Many of us use Amazon, Big Basket, Zepto. It's all marketplace of various products from various suppliers, and then the business happens. These are all examples of this amazing innovative model called business model transformation. Now, what about the impact? The BPT does not fundamentally alter. What I mean by that? Of course, it results in cost saving. It helps you with reduced errors. It improves the customer satisfaction. But typically, it does not lead to a complete reconfiguration of the business. Fundamentally, it does not alter. But look at this, complete overhaul. That's your BMT. Complete overhaul of what? The business's strategic direction, the revenue generation mechanism, the way we generate revenue. How do we look for even more revenues? That's the goal of BMT, which means it is prompted by the recognition that the existing business model may no longer be sustainable or competitive in the current market landscape. It's no more sustainable. It's no more competitive. I better change. I better innovate. That's the beauty about a business model transformation. Now, I'm not trying to say that one is better than the other. What I'm trying to tell you is that both types of these transformations, they are essential. They serve different purposes and at different levels of organizational change. Not everybody needs to do both, or not, everybody needs to compare one with the other. It depends on the level of the organization. It depends on the purpose of the organization. So the choice between them would depend on what are the specific challenges that a business is facing, what are the opportunities that a business is getting, and therefore, having understood this, in the quest for continued success and relevance, which one do I embrace? That is the whole purpose. So the idea is to put this to explain to us what is it that is relevant for me based on the business situation that we are into. So let's go a little more deeper into each of these amazing terms. I'll choose the first one, which is business process transformation. Again, I'll remind it's all about automation. The focus is on digitization. That's the word, that we need to embrace. How can the throughput be higher? How can I ensure, that my output is resulting, in a much more greater revenues and therefore greater profits and therefore greater cash flows? That's the whole focus. Let's again remind ourselves of the definition. This is what we saw for business process transformation. It's an organizational discipline. We got to remember this. Every department is involved to identify, streamline, automate, measure, eliminate the bloated business processes. For what? To create the organizational growth. What an amazing definition. Let's just understand a bit more in detail. It's a continuous and collaborative effort, which means it's very strategic. This is not an operational thing. The operational thing is all about implementing the business process transformation, but the thinking part is the strategic aspect. It's a continuous collaborative effort of diverse businesses and not merely left to the IT team, the information technology. It's not isolating only them to say that you better implement business process transformation. It's a collective effort. It's a collaborative effort. The digitization, the improvement, the automation needs to happen in the business so that the business is able to deliver value and with people in mind. Why are we doing all this? The idea is not to eliminate the workforce. The idea is to augment the capabilities of the workforce. That's the beauty of business process transformation. A lot of people ask me this question: will digitization not eliminate people? The truth is, whatever is routine, whatever is monotonous, whatever is repetitive, in that, if to some extent technology is able to replace, probably it is better also because it will make the human mind think better, become even more efficient. So whenever somebody speaks to me about bot, or robots, they only do repetitive routine activity. But here is a beautiful concept called business process transformation, which says, how do I even have people in the mind to ensure that there is this organizational growth? I love this about BPT. You know what it says? It's basically a cycle of transform, optimize, control. What I mean by this? What is transformation? When a business is able to adopt or respond to an industry disruption, when a business is able to respond effectively, align itself to the challenges, that is called transformation, which means you do the right thing. What is required for that moment, am I able to think and therefore implement? Doing the right thing, that's called transformation. Because that's the situation that a business is going to go through. I already said, we live in a world where change is constant. Anything and everything, can come from anywhere. We have to be ready. That's why I love this word agile. What is transformation? Do the right thing. So what is this optimization then? Optimization is all about driving the efficiency in the process, finding new ways of working. See, if we do the same thing again and again, results are not improving. That's insanity, right? I do the same thing, no change. I do the same thing, no change. What's the point of even doing it? You know what optimization says? Do the thing right. Drive the efficiencies in processes, find new ways of working, and this is where the collaboration and the cooperation in an organization is very important. That's why I say it's an organizational discipline. It's all about creating that organizational growth. And then comes the beautiful word called control. most of us are finance guys here, and we love the word control, not because we want to control. We believe that control will lead to governance. What you measure, that's what you can manage. If you can't even measure, how will you manage? What cannot be measured cannot be managed. And that's why when we can't manage, we damage. And therefore, control is very, very important. What do I mean by control here? Is there a process by which we can efficiently measure, monitor, manage the business processes, not only the operations, but also the compliance part? That's why I said control is about governance also, the compliance. A lot of people, unfortunately, in businesses miss out this amazing word called compliance because, unfortunately, it is a pain area. To comply, do something right is a pain area. But I always say that when we embrace the pain, the growth is automatic. And one of the messages, that I learned for myself as I was, preparing, for even this beautiful differences of this concept is telling myself, oh, it's not just the transformation, not just optimizing it, but how do I ensure that we are able to measure, monitor, but more importantly, manage, which means the control, both in terms of how, we are employing the processes, but more importantly, the compliance part is also very, very relevant. Examples of business process transformation. As I said, anything that is manual, anything that is routine, for example, automate the billing. Anything that is mundane, you get into robotics process automation. Where there is analytics that is required to optimize. Now, here again, human intelligence is definitely required. It can't be just done by a system. For example, SCM, supply chain management. Or let's even take business process management, where you want to create a single platform which is unified to ensure that the processes are all within that unified platform. These are some of the examples of business process transformation. Again, to remind, it's an organizational activity to create organizational growth. How do I ensure that I improve upon the processes to ensure that it becomes better and delivers the growth? This is a very, very apt example, for the students out here. If you go to McDonald's, you will see that you have the kiosk. This is an example of business process transformation. The kiosk does the entire thing. Of course, it is digitization, but a better process. You don't have to stand in the queue. GE was definitely a leader in terms of evolving the business process transformation within the business. They did it for the company, they did it for the customers, they did it for the ecosystem, which means they created platforms, technologies, apps, whatever was required from a digitization angle to ensure that the business processes were better. And this is a great example of BPT. I love this example because many of you would know that Toyota is a pioneer in lean manufacturing system, what we call as the Toyota production system. But the beauty is this: Ford, they embraced this technology or this thinking or this concept of Toyota. So they felt that it was something which was beautiful. Of course, they made some changes which were required for their own business. But this is again a great example of business process transformation. So now comes the beautiful question. Okay, we have seen the example, we have understood the meaning, but how do we go about the process itself? This is very, very important. It first starts with capturing, with identifying what is the target? What is this business target? I always say that you can't hit a target that you can't see. So first we need to set the target. We need to set the goal, which means it starts with the customers, it starts with the employees, it starts with the business partners. We have to think what the customer wants, what the customer is willing to pay. We have to think what the stakeholders want. And therefore, this is all about understanding what value, identifying what value I want to provide. The second is even more beautiful. Now comes the question of how do we collaborate? How do we assess together? How do we design together? How do we improve together? Which means it's all about driving that collaboration between the information technology and the other departments. How do you bridge the gap so that that value is understood, that value is created? It's all about collaborating across the different functions and not leaving the functions into silos. That's the beauty about this particular step. That's why it says facilitate the collaboration to improve. The third is even more beautiful. Look at this. I started with what I want, which is the value creation. I decided I need to collaborate, but what is the next step? How do you build? How do you operate this? How do you innovate this? Which means now comes, what insights am I getting? What actionable actions, data, is giving me about this actionable insights that I want to carry on. How can I make that decision faster? So it's all about insights. How do I make them actionable? How do I ensure, that I'm able to also implement them faster? And in this journey, you have to reimagine the process to tell yourself, how do I create a better experience using that value that I want to offer? As I said in the beginning, today customers are not merely looking at product or service, they are looking at experience. Am I able to deliver that better experience? Am I able to create that operational excellence? That's this phase. And of course, finally, as I keep saying, you have to continuously monitor whatever we do. Same is the case with the business. Am I getting that momentum? Is there an increase? Is there a scale? Which means, am I creating a sustainable business? That's the whole objective of business process transformation, and those are the interesting steps. So if you look at this particular process, the business process transformation, the whole goal is, how do I connect people with the process and the technology, the systems? For example, I design the process, I improve the process, I analyze it, I implement that, I enable with the people. But how do I ensure that whatever I design as a technology, the build of the technology, the test of the technology, the deployment, the running of the technology, end of the day, is it ensuring that the insight is faster, at the same time the adaptation is faster? Only when there is a speed, there's a sense of urgency, trust me, business process transformation will get a meaning. That's why sometimes I feel that digitization is very important. Technology is very important, because probably that brings also the sense of urgency, that brings the speed. And therefore, whatever comes as insights, we have to action them so that there is improvement, because business process transformation is all about giving that experience. The journey has to be as exciting, and therefore that experience is very, very important. What are the steps to implement? Quickly, find out the areas which actually require the change or sometimes even elimination. You don't need them bloated out of requirement, or sometimes to even optimize them. Of course, you have to get the buy-in of all the stakeholders, because this is an organizational exercise. It's very important that everybody is into it. And of course, take help of the experts, ensure that you're able to collaborate and then deliver it. Understand what the customer wants, because it is value creation, it is value proposition. It's all customer-centric driven to ensure that the process is enabling them to get that experience. And of course, redesign the processes which are core by using a new technology so that the process is much more better. It is efficient, it is efficacious, it is even more having the ability to give you that experience. And finally, ensure that there are KPIs, the key performance indicators, that are well defined so that you're able to hit that target. Again, I go back to that beautiful statement. If you don't have a target, you can't hit it. If you can't see a target, you can't hit it. Therefore, ensure that you have got the key performance indicators as targets so that you can meet them. Of course, having said all this, you think it's easy? Not at all. It's never easy. You're going to find that there's going to be a complaining saying that, oh, it's not clear. The goal is not clear. The objective is not clear. There is going to be resistance. Sometimes you'll feel that the resource is not adequate. Probably it's not communicated effectively. Probably the leadership support is not coming as expected. Can happen. But that's why I always say that we need to remind the benefits of any concept, because this is where most organizations fail. There will be deficiencies. There will be inadequacies. There will be a lack. But how do you overcome the lack? How do you overcome the deficiency? You got to remind the benefit. Look at the benefits of business process transformation. It saves time because there is digitization, there is automation. What does that do? It improves, enhances the operational efficiency. What does that do? Leads to revenue coming out of the new process. And therefore, the productivity of the employee is better. The engagement of the employee with the customer is better. And therefore, The customer experience and satisfaction is huge. Why are we doing all this? To ensure that the organizational effort leads to organizational growth. What is organizational growth? Also ensuring that your customers are happy, their experience is greater. And that's why I always say that the benefits have to be reminded. Because of business process transformation, the number of innovations can be significant. The new leads, the new customers, the conversions can be significant. The financial performance of the business can be greater, and therefore it can create an impactful, sustainable metrics, which leads to greater goodwill and reputation. That's the beauty of a business process transformation. So remind the benefits whenever there is a lack, inadequacy, deficiency, because that's the only way they're going to get better. It's never a question of what resources we have. It's always a question of how resourceful we are. And that resourcefulness is always required whenever we need to implement any concept. And again, go back to the basics. Remind yourself, what is the goal with which I started? Go back to the blackboard, find out what was the real purpose of even doing this. Ensure that you're able to understand the metrics, the targets, the KPIs. Involve people. People are important. I always say that teamwork makes the dream work. It's all about people. Of course, test it. Ensure that you're able to get that confidence that it works, and then do it as a stage. Don't rush it. Any new concept, anything that is differentiated, ensure that we have tested it well and ensure that we're able to implement that by stages. Then probably the magic happens. Then when the miracle starts there. Now that I've finished about business process transformation, let me come to the next important concept, which is business model transformation, a little more depth into what it actually means. Now you can see the word there, new age retail ecosystem. When I explained about the business model transformation, I did say that it is transitioning from the traditional brick and mortar model to an e-commerce, to an omni-channel approach. That's the beauty about business model transformation. It's pivoting from product sales to subscription-based services. It's adopting a platform-based business model to connecting even buyers and sellers in a marketplace. Technology today is making things so seamless. Business model transformation is to look at that seamless, how disruptive it is, and not simply easing the process. Easing the process is business process transformation. Something that is disruptive, new age, that is business model transformation. So let's again go back to the definition so that's easier for us to resonate with what business model transformation is. Very first line, the process of altering the fundamental way. Process of altering the fundamental, you're touching the core. The way a company operates and delivers value to customers to improve its performance, competitiveness, and the last line, as I keep saying, very important, adapt to the changing market conditions. What are we saying? This business model transformation is aiming for long-term success, for long-term sustainability. The goal is, can I survive, thrive, and therefore scale? Can I sustain? How to stay relevant? How to still remain competitive in a very competitive environment? In all that, how do I ensure that customer satisfaction is high, operational efficiency is high, at the same time being agile to a rapidly changing business situation that the business is into? Trust me, a lot of industries are facing the challenges of the startups. Many startups are very disruptive. For example, when Ola, they saw Uber and they came into India. Ola today is a disruptive model. Whatever Big Basket or Zepto is doing is a very, very disruptive model. Some of the apps that we have in our smartphones, like banking, that's a disruptive model. Enhanced customer satisfaction, improved operational efficiency, you're staying relevant, you're competitive, you're looking at the long-term success, you're looking at sustainability, at the same time agile, because competition is lurking all around. How do I still be ahead of the game? That's the beauty of this business model transformation. Now, this is very, very important to understand, because in an era of relative stability, one can do a stepwise approach. This step, and then the next step, and then the step after. That's okay. But when there is an era of transformation, things are changing so fast, so quickly. Oh, competition is coming so fast. We also need to be fast, agile. When new opportunity is coming, do I have the ability even to seize it, implement that? That is called the era of transformation. And here, you don't need a stepwise approach, but you need a discontinuous approach. What is discontinuous approach? Whenever it's very competitive, it's quick in terms of the competition, are you fast enough to change? Whenever there's a new opportunity that is coming across, are you best suited even to seize that opportunity? Because you are in an era of transformation, you are not in an era of relative stability. In the era of relative stability, there is still change, but not significant. There is competition, but it's still stable, not too aggressive, not too fierce. But in era of transformation, it's a bloodbath out there. You have to be agile so that you are above the game. And therefore, I love this amazing concept of business model transformation. You have to be a think tank. See, in the business process transformation, I said you need organizational, work. It's an organizational activity. But I'm going to use a different word for business model. I'm going to say it's a think tank. It's very strategic. You have to ensure that you're able to have the right people, right size to bring about that change, which means it begins with which industry does the business operate in? What is the future of that business? What is the future of that industry itself? What sort of quality of effort we are willing to put? What about technological advancements we are able to make, mapping the risk and the workforce capabilities? How do I ensure that I'm able to contain the cost, understand the market opportunity to gain the customers by being innovative and embracing this digitization so that I'm able to increase the business scope and its sustainability? This is definitely something that is a think tank aspect. It's not operational. It's very, very strategic. How do I ensure that I go to that sustainability by completely understanding whether my industry is growing? Is my effort commensurate? Have I implemented the right technology, or do I need to improve it further? Do I map the risk and the ability of even my workforce in terms of how capable they are to deliver? Am I ensuring that I'm able to contain the cost and therefore I become more profitable? Is this market opportunity better for me even to gain the customers? Am I that innovative? Am I that capable of embracing even the digitization in the business so that my business scope, the capability goes so high that I remain sustainable? I'm saying this because when do we need this business model transformation? Why do we need this business model transformation? It is when there is mad competition. It is increasing all the time. There is market disruption. You find that somebody is better than who we are. Our sales are declining compared, to the others. When we need this technological advancement, when we see that customer needs, customer expectation, that is changing. And of course, the regulatory situation, if that changes, obviously, business model transformation is the need of the hour. So what is this business model transformation? It's not just idea. Of course, ideas are important. It is said that we get 60,000 thoughts every day. I understand, I appreciate that. But what I'm saying is, it's not just about the idea. The question is in terms of how do I ensure that the business model is right? What am I saying here is that idea never fails. The business model to an idea only fails. Do I have the ability even to challenge the business model? That is called business model transformation. Are we having the guts, the confidence, the tenacity even to challenge our own business model? If it doesn't start there, we'll never get to the concept of business model transformation. What I'm saying is that business model transformation is not about coming up with ideas. It's always about the execution. I always say that it is not in the power of ideas that success lies. It is in the power of execution. Am I strong enough to deliver? Is my execution capability super? That exactly is called as business model transformation. I'm saying this because Netflix probably is one of a very apt example of business model transformation. Of course, Netflix had competition when it started. Blockbuster Video was the number one at that time. But as we say, in the world of M&A, the big fish, was able to eat the small fish. How did they do that? They came with something called the business model canvas, the BMC. BMC is a very simple tool, 9 important boxes that you need to understand, and that led them to think how they can even be numero one, the number one. How did they do? Of course, they also started DVD rentals, but that was not their vision. The word Netflix itself means net is internet, Flix is movies. How do I ensure that the movies are given via the internet? That was the model. That was the think tank. That was the belief. A great example of business model transformation. And how did they achieve that? Because they were constantly pivoting. Pivot and not pause, which means I look at a situation, I see that I need to work better on that situation, and therefore I change the way I operate. That's called pivot. In simple terms, what is pivot? You reposition, you rethink, you change, you modify, you reset, you change the course, you alter, you shift. You do everything that is required for you to be above the competition, to ensure that you are numero one, you are delivering the best to your customer. No wonder some of the examples are the best. Dropbox, I think many of us use. Groupon is on the coupon schemes, very well known. And Zappos is again a great example of how they ensure that they were able to use business model transformation for their growth. And what is interesting is that Amazon, they acquired Zappos for 1.2 billion. That's a sort of amazing, transformation that happens when you are into revisiting the business model for better growth, for better development, because you want to be sustainable. The word is sustainable. This is again a very interesting example. That's why I'm showing you. If you look at Mercedes-Benz, which has been there for ages, you look at Tesla, which came long after, all these Mercedes-Benz and your BMWs and Audis and Volvos. The beauty is this. Mercedes-Benz had this traditional model. You build, then you market the product, and then you sell. But Tesla was very, very different. You first market the product, then you sell the product, then you build the product. Oh, how is it? They were doing pre-booking. You know what is pre-booking? I'll market the product, I'll even sell, take some advance, and then I'll build the product and deliver. This is what Tesla does. When Tesla came in India, I know very well, so many of my friends also did this pre-booking because they wanted that car. But I'm going to show you the best example where my own cousin did this. Ather, which is our own homegrown genius startup. This is what they did, pre-booking. They marketed, they sold, and then they built. My cousin, he had to pay the advance and he had to wait for some time even to get the Ather vehicle. I'm using Ather as an example because in the world of startup, it's a great admiration to see a business which did probably some 80 crores in FY21, moved to almost 400 crores in FY22, and this year FY23, closer to 1,800 crores. Look at the jump. This is an example of business model transformation. How are you above the crowd? How do you ensure that you are highly sustainable? But this is the beauty. What is it required even to implement this business model transformation? Or you have to tear apart the old system. You can't think the old way. You have to think the new way. Otherwise, it doesn't work. You have to create the new processes. That's why think tank. It has to work. And of course, bring about that sustainable change, that growth, because that's success. Look at some of the examples that happened in business model transformation. There's something called laser and blade model or razor blade model. Who introduced it? Gillette. So if you look at Gillette, what they do, the basic product is not that expensive. Sometimes given free also. Gillette never did it, but I'm saying the idea of razor blade model is the basic product is cheap or given free. But the consumables, they're quite expensive. I am myself a culprit of this because I use Gillette. So the razor is cheaper, but the cartridges, they are quite expensive. But only those cartridges fit the razor. And therefore I have to buy them. What an interesting model called razor blade model. And we are all victims of HP printers or other printers too. You buy the printer which appears at a certain price. Look at the cartridge. They are so expensive. If you students, you play PlayStation, I don't need to explain to you. Nespresso in the US, exactly the same. Juicero. All these are some of the examples of where the basic product is not that expensive, but the consumables are quite expensive. An amazing model. It's called business model transformation. Let's look at another example. Freemium. I think many of us are used to this. Something is given free, we use it, and then we feel we need some additional features. At that time, it's not free. You have to pay for it. At that time, it becomes premium. I am myself a victim of LinkedIn. I was using it free, and then I realized, oh, I need to do a few more aspects which I needed better feature. You have to subscribe. You have to go for paying them. It's called freemium model. Zoho is a great example. Freshworks is a great example. Your mailing systems are a great example. We also use Monday.com, an amazing tool on the task management, a freemium model. Skype, again, example. Of course, your Google Drive. This subscription model is very simple. The product is first given free. Users get tempted, and then when they want to use it, they become their subscribers. So subscription model is very interesting because once the product is given, you get used to it, and then the customer, wants to pay for it because the customer is now excited about using it. Again, we are victims of Netflix. We're victims of your Prime Video, victims of Apple Music or even Spotify, Adobe, Microsoft, always, does this, Salesforce.com. Dollar Shaving Club is a great example. And of course, some of the magazines, for example, you want to subscribe to, business, newspapers. Many of them, actually want you to subscribe. Otherwise, you can't even access that newspaper. Subscription model, whether it's monthly or whether it's quarterly or whether it's annual, an amazing model. I'm going to show you one that is practical. This is 2022. Example from a business, presentation of Ajinomoto company, which is a Japanese multinational, huge company. It's a biotechnology, it's a semiconductor, it's into personal computers, but more importantly, they are into, the cooking related ingredients. That's why Ajinomoto, many of the people who are into the world of cooking will understand Ajinomoto. It's a sweetener, it's a spice, they use amino acids. What I'm saying is that as big as Ajinomoto, which is a $10 billion business, in their presentation, they said we need to come up with something called business model transformation. And they said we need to do this in 4 areas. The areas are healthcare, food and wellness, information, communication technology, and of course, the green energy. Everybody speaks about contributing to the earth, and they also want to do that, which means they came with a concept of business model transformation. Why? They wanted to grow. They wanted to sustain. Why am I even saying this, that they wanted to grow, they wanted to sustain? Unfortunately, the background of this company, Ajinomoto, you'll be surprised. Last 3 years, they've been only clocking a turnover of that $10 billion. Small increase or decrease, that's it. So the company has realized, how do I ensure that I need to be above the crowd? And therefore, business model transformation. I would urge you to go into the website of this company. The report I've taken is there, growth strategy through business model transformation. You'll be surprised how a concept like business model transformation is practically employed by businesses. So on that note, I want to conclude. Let's recollect, what we understood about these 2 beautiful concepts: business process transformation, business model transformation. So what is BPT? It's an organizational discipline using various methods to identify, streamline, automate, measure, and eliminate the bloated business processes to create organizational growth. It's very, very internal. The objective is to boost the productivity and effectiveness, and the usual suspects are your ERPs and your BPRs and your Six Sigma, your Lean does not fundamentally alter because it's within the business model. Digitization plays a significant role for business process transformation. What about business model transformation? Oh, wow. It's altering the fundamental way you're touching the core, the way a company operates and delivers value to customers to improve its performance, competitiveness, and adapt. Important word, adapt to changing market conditions, which means You're adapting to the evolving dynamics of the market. The goal is always about viability, sustainability, growth, and sustainability. And therefore, the examples are unbelievable. Traditional channel to omni-channel, even a subscription-based or marketplace models compared, how do you pivot to that? And it's all about complete overhaul so that you're above the crowd, you're always sustainable. On that note, would like to thank you for this amazing opportunity and open to questions, that you have. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your expertise with us. Your eloquence and ability to convey complex ideas in a clear and engaging manner have made a lasting impression. Now the floor is open for Q&A. The participants are requested to post the question in the chat box.
Kuperi sir, I am posting the questions on the screen. It is being pinned in the screen. You can
Sure.
directly go through and answer, sir.
Sure. So the first question I'm seeing from Mr. BK Anhelkar. So, sir, when everyone starts using generative AI, shall we not witness conflicts among competitive players? It's a very, very interesting question, sir. But let's understand, generative AI is actually quite complex and is very specific. What I mean by that is, for example, we are working with a generative AI company, which is working on only a specific requirement of collecting the receivables. There is another generative AI company which is only looking at a specific area of supply chain. What I'm trying to tell you is that generative AI is not common. A lot of people think that it is one, shoe which fits all sizes. It's never the case. It's very, very specific, to the processes. And therefore, yes, it is going to bring about changes, but I believe it's only going to make us better if we're able to evolve with the change. If you don't evolve, as I said, innovate or die. If you don't evolve, then it becomes a problem. I'll take the question of Lokesh Kumar. How does digital transformation affect business strategy? See, digital transformation in today's world, I would not use the word affect. It's enhancing the growth of a business. For example, if I'm strategic to come up with plans of getting into a new market or coming up with a new product or service, or let's say, getting into a new channel, the digital aspect of it is helping me understand how can I get to my customers faster. In today's world, if we don't embrace the social media, I'm not saying everything, but maybe selectively, if you're not able to embrace, or trust me, we'll be behind. Even in the business that I run, which is more into investment banking, it's very, very interesting. If we don't use digitization, sometimes, we fall behind. For example, we use SEO, the SMM a lot, because that helps us even get the customers. I'll come to the question of, Ramesh Ganapati sir. Is it possible to have tailor-made process transformation models oriented towards an entity-specific business? What kind of resources would be required for this purpose? So every transformation, if you ask me, is tailor-made, because as I said, it begins with the target. What is it that I want to achieve? It begins with something called value proposition. And if you ask me what kind of resources for business process transformation, I think first of all, it is a collective effort, it's a collaborative effort, and therefore it's about the teamwork to understand what tools are required to even implement, that particular process to improve or enhance the growth and efficiency. I think it's a collective mechanism is what I would say, rather than even throwing, some names for resources. To me, the best resource for a business process transformation is the collective effort. Dharani has a question. Good evening. What are the challenges to create a successful digital transformation in business? Could you please explain? The challenge is the top embracement, the top management embracement. Because sometimes I've seen that though we speak about digital transformation in a big way all the time, sometimes the support has to come from the top. That is one. Second, there is an investment required. There is a resource which needs to be allocated. Because if the resource is not allocated effectively, then it can be a constraint. The third is the mindset, the attitude. I think people should work towards implementing the digital transformation in an effective way, because people should realize the benefits overweigh the risks that the business can face. I've always told myself that if the advantages are better than the risk that is there, why wouldn't I embrace the advantages? And therefore, I think what is important is to understand that one needs to look at the support of the top management, one needs to make their investment, one also needs to have the mindset to implement it. Ramesh sir again has a question. How do we automate document-centric activities in a business entity while attempting a process automation? I think this is simpler in terms of document-centric because I actually work, with at least 3 or 4 businesses here, which are conversational AI, and they basically help in terms of even the languages to automate the content of that, into the requirement. So I think there are tools by which the API, can speak to the other, other mediums and ensure that the computer vision can pick it up and do the documentation. I'll come to the question of Dr. Satwik. Sir, what are the challenges involved in business model transformation? Business model transformation requires for a right think tank, which means are we best suited, even to come up with that strategic initiative? So it begins with forming the right think tank. And my suggestion is that if we believe that we need to have people from outside who have done it, who have seen it, who are capable, I think it's very important to bring them into the scenario because that, would be fantastic. The second, in terms of business process transformation, is it is not ordinary. It is above the crowd, and therefore it calls for an investment across different streams. And one needs to plan for that investment ahead of time because it's being agile, it's being nimble. So I think resource management is very, very important for business model transformation. But more importantly, the third one is very, very crucial. Keep a watch on the competition all the time. Whether it's direct or indirect, keep a watch on all the time. That's what, I would summarize. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. The questions are done, sir. Thank you so much for your patience answering. Over to Aarti, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Now I invite Mr. N.M. Arjun, Assistant Professor, PG Department of Commerce General, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Good evening, one and all present here. It's a great pleasure and honor to express my gratitude on this unforgettable occasion. First and foremost, I would like to thank our speaker for today's technical section, Chandrasekhar Gubberi, who accepted our proposal and enlightened all the participants' mind through his powerful words on the topic business process transformation versus business model transformation. Thank you, sir, for the valuable time despite the busy schedule. And also express my heartfelt thanks to Vibhuti Bhushan Nayak, Ashwin Kumar G. Dalwadi, Srinivasa Prasad, Ragesh Babu for the valuable time to make our program a grand success. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to our management, correspondent P. Venkatesh Raja sir, our beloved director, Dr. Sai Satyavadi ma'am, our honorable principal, Dr. Maladi Selvakumar ma'am, for giving this opportunity to conduct an inevitable program in SA College of Arts and Science. Thank you so much. I would like to express my gratitude to Dr. P. Suresh, Head PG Department of Commerce, Aarti ma'am, other faculty, non-teaching staff, students, and other participants for the valuable cooperation for making this program a resounding success. Thank you so much.
Thank you all. Thank you so much. Stay tuned with us for tomorrow. The topic is on technology in the business compliances at 2 p.m. on the same YouTube channel. CMA members are requested to log in via the CMA webinar portal for the CEP hours. Others can directly log in via the YouTube. Thank you so much. We'll meet tomorrow. Thank you all. Have a good day.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.